All right, so you guys already have an idea of what an entrepreneur is, and you already have an idea about a couple of these business organizations. However, we haven't talked about every single one of them that you need to have an understanding for, okay? So, and that was done on purpose. I just wanted you to have an idea of how this went, okay? So, has everybody got the title written down? We good there? Okay. So, basically, we've got to answer these questions. What are entrepreneurs and what is their role in a market economy? So basically, what is a person who's running a business? What is their role in the type of economies we use? What are important incentives for an entrepreneur, and how do entrepreneurs benefit society? So guys, again, this is fairly simple if you just pay attention, okay? This won't take us too very long, I don't think. So we need to answer the question what an entrepreneur is. So the entire time in this class I have been telling you an entrepreneur is someone who is willing to take a risk in order to try to make a what? Profit. The book definition says that entrepreneurs are people who take calculated risk in order to start new businesses and develop innovative products and processes. Entrepreneurs accept the risk of organizing resources to produce goods and services, and they expect to earn a profit. I'm not going to make you write every bit of that out. So let's just put down beside an entrepreneur an individual or person. So it's any person willing to take a risk and start a business. Any person willing to take a risk and start a business in hopes of making a profit. And guys, don't make any mistake about it. The only reason anybody starts a business is in hopes of making money. Okay? That is it. So that is an entrepreneur. So any type of business organization that we're about to discuss, whether it be a corporation, partnership, proprietorship, a co-op, any of these that we're about to go through, franchise, all of these people started this business in the hopes of making money. All right? So, moving forward, it says, entrepreneurs earn profits when buyers purchase the products they sell at prices higher than the cost of production. It says an entrepreneur can incur losses when buyers do not purchase the products they sell at prices high enough to cover the cost of production. So we need to jot that down, okay? So basically, what an entrepreneur is trying to do is to have money left over after expenses are paid. You guys with me? If I spend $5,000 a month creating my product, and I'm only making $3,000 a month, is that a good thing? No. I need to make more than my expenses. So I would jot down, I would put down expenses have to be lower. I'd put the less than sign. Expenses have to be lower than profit, or profit has to be greater than expenses. I have to make more than I am spending. Common sense economics right there. I have to make more than I'm spending. So expenses have to be less than my profit. Okay? So far, so simple? Alright. So, what are the incentives? And I'll just write down the word incentives and underline it. What are incentives for entrepreneurs? So what is an incentive for businessmen? Why would anybody want to start a business? What is the incentive to do so? What is a positive the very first one and most important one? Guys, why? I've told you this. Why do people start businesses? To earn what? Make a profit. So just simply write down profit. Okay? Now, there's also some other incentives to start your own business. Obviously, profit's probably the most important one. What's the second one? What do you think? If you run your own business, do you set your own schedule? Yeah. So your decision making is another incentive important to entrepreneurs. Your independence. So I put down independence. I'm running a company, the final say-so comes from me, right? So who's to blame if things go bad? Me. Who gets all the credit if things go good? Me. Kind of like being a head coach, right? They get all the criticism and all the praise. Depends on how it goes, okay? So people like to start businesses. They get to create their own schedule. They are the ones that are in charge, and hopefully they make money, right? So that's what an entrepreneur's incentives are. Now, those are the positive aspects of it. Are there negative sides to starting your own business? Yeah, if I got to go borrow a bunch of money to start my own business and my business doesn't do well, do I still have to pay that money back? Yeah. Absolutely. So that could be a problem, right? So it's a two-way street. It is definitely a two-way street. Okay? Now, says the next one's how do entrepreneurs benefit society? Now this one's cool, okay? Put down benefits to society. Benefits to society. So, we're going to label these just like we did the incentives. Why do you think someone starting a new business in our area is a good thing? What do you think it creates? What do you think, Jay?
Like, there's not a lot of businesses here, so everyone would check it out.
Oh yeah, in our area there isn't a lot going on, right? You have a lot of mom and pop, so to speak, stores. So anybody that creates something new, everybody's going to see it. How many of you's been to Hobby Lobby and Galax yet?
My mom doesn't want
Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Hobby Lobby just opened, and a dude put on Facebook the other day, he rode by the parking lot filming, and there wasn't anywhere to park. Now, all those people that's in that store, you think they went there to buy something? No. Probably not necessarily. They went there to see what type of stuff Hobby Lobby is trying to sell, correct? Mm-hmm. Now, once Hobby Lobby got them in the door, they probably offered them all kinds of incentives because it's a grand opening, right? But that's neither here nor there. Somebody went to go see it. So new businesses are a good thing. You attract people, right? The second thing it does is say we're in an area that has a lot of business. Okay, say we're in Winston-Salem. Don't they have a mall in Winston?
Yeah.
All right. So let's just say that a new business opens up in Winston that's similar to some of the stores in the mall. People are going to go check it out, right? So what did this new store just create to these other stores? Competition. Yeah, choice. So in number one, put down competition. It says entrepreneurs increase competition. And I think we've touched base on this a little bit. Is competition a good or bad thing? Good. This is a good thing. Why? It does two things. Competition does what? It lowers prices. And what's it do to quality of products? Yeah, you get better quality products. So competition is a good thing. Thank you, Solomon. And then the second thing that an entrepreneur does that benefits societies, put down that it's economic growth. That Hobby Lobby is going to create more business, which is going to create more money circulating through the economy in the Twin Counties. That's a good thing because they're going to pay workers. Those workers are going to go out and spend that money, hopefully, in our area, right? And the economy will keep moving. So the second thing that benefits the society is economic growth. Y'all with me? All right. Up to this point, all this makes sense. Pretty simple stuff, I think. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to get into, and I know that's small. I don't know if I can make it any bigger. Yeah. We're going to talk about the different forms of business. I've told you about three of those. We've mentioned what a proprietorship is, a partnership, and a corporation. We're going to add two more today. We're going to talk about a franchise and then a co-op or a cooperative. All right? So let's just go down the line with it and see if this makes any type of sense to you guys. Okay? So, first word I'd like for you to write down is a proprietorship. You can write down sole if you want to. As a matter of fact, I would suggest you do that because sole means how many? One. And that actually helps you remember what this is. So a sole proprietorship. So with this SOL, guys, you just basically have to be able to tell the difference in all these different types of businesses. Okay, so the way this is set up, it shows you the benefits and the cost of running one of these, but you kind of got to know what they are. So the first thing that we would want to put down under sole proprietorship is there is one owner. I don't have that up there, but it's only one owner. Now use common sense. If a business has one owner, is it more than likely a ginormous business?
No.
No, that would be really hard. You know, you look at your little mom and pop stores, things of that nature. You guys know where Miller's is at in Woodlawn, that really good store? You know, that's family operated, right? That would be considered a proprietorship, okay? Because I'm pretty sure there's only one owner of that, okay? I could be wrong, but it's kind of that level is what I'm trying to get at here, okay? Now, not saying they don't do really well. They probably do really, really well there. But it's not owned by a ton of people. So it's got one owner. So what is the benefit of being a sole proprietor? Very simply, put down that the one owner gets to make all decisions. So when it comes to their business, he or she is the only one that's calling the shots. They get to make all the decisions, okay? Now, if that business does really, really, really good, who gets to keep all the profit? That one owner, right? So jot that down. They get to make all the decisions, keep all the profit. Make all decisions, keep all the profit. Is everybody with me? Now there has to be a negative side to this. Being a one owner, there's got to be a negative. It says cost. It says the owner is generally limited financial resources, meaning he only has enough money, or she has enough money from what she's making, right? So, jot down underneath it is you have limited resources, or excuse me, limited financial resources. You're kind of relying on yourself, and that can be difficult at times. You know, if you have a partner, if you're a huge corporation, you know, other people can step in, but if you're a sole proprietor, you have limited financial resources. It says that the owner also faces liability or unlimited liability. So jot down unlimited liability. You guys know what the word liability is? Yeah, like you're liable for how much you own. So I told you in a corporation, if I own 25% of the business, when it got time to get paid, I get 25% of the profit, right? Well, if I'm a sole proprietor, that means I own everything, right? So when it's time to get paid, I get 100% of the profit, which is awesome. But if my business goes under, who's responsible for everything that's not paid off? That one individual. You guys with me? So that can be bad. Going along the lines of the unlimited liability, it means that if the company fails, the owner can lose personal assets along with the business assets. So you could basically lose parts of your car, your home, things of that nature if you owe enough into the business. So it is risky, right? But some people look at it as, well, I can make all this money by myself, or I can lose it all. High risk, high reward scenario. But as far as the sole proprietor goes, guys, just simply know that it's one owner who takes all the risk and gets all the profit. Y'all with me so far? That's the first one, okay? All right, second one we got here, partnership. Just jot it down, partnership. Now, first thing we got to know, partnership. How many owners can there be? Two or more. Okay, so underneath partnership, you've got two or more owners. Okay, two or more owners. Now, these two or more owners, they're going to share decision making, right? They're going to work together to try to put the business in a spot that'll make it successful. So they're going to share the decision making, and what else are they going to share? Profit. Okay. Now, with that being said, what could be some conflicts with partnership? It's the same thing as a sole proprietor. Owners can face liability. They have limited financial resources, but the biggest one is the last one. It says potential what between the partners? Yeah, put down potential conflict. Eventually, you and your partner are not going to see eye to eye on things, right? So if that happens, and guys, this can happen in any type of business, but it happens in partnerships a lot because usually your partner is your friend and you guys are used to arguing with one another. So you got potential conflict with your partner. Potential conflict with your partner. Okay. Again, you share the responsibilities. You share the the liability, and you share the profit. But also you share the possibility of it going under because you can't agree on something. Okay. Everybody straight with those two? Pretty common sense, I hope. All right. Moving on to the next one. You got a corporation, I believe, is what it is. Yeah. I don't know why it done that. But anyway, it says corporations are able to accumulate sufficient financial capital to make large-scale investments and achieve economies of scale, bringing down costs of production by reducing volume. They also have limited liability, meaning shareholders risk what they have share in their ownership of the corporation. The corporation transcends the lives of those persons who created it. So, how do we put all this down to make it make sense? So, first thing, write down the word corporation, because we're going to put it in layman terms, pretty simple terms. Now, we need to know how many types of, how many owners a corporation can have. Does anybody know? Still 2 or more. And this is where this can get confusing, because if I ask you a question and it says, give me an example of a business that has 2 or more owners, how many answers did I just open that up to? 2. At least 2, right? It could be a partnership or it could be a corporation. Now, when I was talking to you guys a second ago about a partnership, I told you that they share responsibility, they share profit, they share the risk, right? Same concept with the corporation. Put down they share profit, and they share risk. So what exactly is the difference between a corporation and a partnership?
The legal identity.
Yeah. This is where the legality of things comes in. Okay, if you'll notice about halfway down that first paragraph there, it says they have a limited liability. Write that down and put a star beside of it. In a corporation, the owners have what you call a limited liability. And what limited liability means, guys, is their risk is limited to their share of ownership. Okay? So what I mean by that is, let's take all of us. How many of us in here? Me, 3, 7, 10. There's 11 of us in here, counting me, right? If let's say you 10 go out and buy a business, and every one of you own 10% of that business. Every one of you threw in the same amount of money. 10% is what you have invested in. Okay? If that business does good, you get 10% of the profit. If that business goes bad, you have to pay in 10%. You got me? You are legally liable for the amount of money you have invested in it. So limited liability, put down this statement right here. Shareholders are limited. Shareholders' risk is limited to their share of ownership in the corporation. Okay? So limited liability means that you are limited to your share. Of ownership. That's how I'd leave it. You guys ever heard of the saying, the majority shareholder? Y'all know what that means? If you are a majority shareholder, you own how much of the business?
Majority of
At least 51% of it, right? At least 51% of it. So there's your difference between a corporation and a partnership. This one has a limited liability. You are liable for how much you have invested. Okay. Now, what is a disadvantage to owning a corporation? It says that corporations face tax implications, meaning they get double taxation. They have to pay taxes on their profit, and then they have to pay taxes when they distribute to their shareholders and dividends. So they're taxed a lot. You guys with me? Corporations are more expensive to establish and are governed by more regulations. So how can we put this to make it simple? I'll just write down that they have more regulations. And taxed more. They have more regulations and taxed more. They're taxed at every corner, basically, that they go around. Everybody with me on those three? Those three we've talked about a little bit, so they should have a little bit of an idea. These next two I haven't mentioned before. Okay? So the next one, the next one is called a cooperative. Don't get these confused with a corporation. A co-op or a cooperative. Okay? You see a lot of co-ops or corporations in the agricultural field. Okay, I have a brother-in-law that's an extension agent. He literally works with these all the time, trying to get the best prices for farmers and things of that nature. So, what is a benefit to being in a co-op? Well, it says co-ops are member-owned. That's the first thing I would write down. So you have to be a member to be in a co-op. You have to join it. So they are member-owned. Okay? And the only reason you have them is to offer the members benefits. Okay? So member-owned and offer member benefits. Okay? Member-owned and offer member benefits. All right? Now, if you read this, it says members enjoy discounted products. They may receive refunds at the end of the year. They face no personal liability. They have a vote in how the business is ran and have interests similar to other members. So that sounds like a pretty good deal, right? So we're going to put down under the plus side of this, after we've written down member-owned and offer member benefits, put down that they receive discounts. They receive discounts and possibly refunds. Okay? And then they vote on business matters. So, if I told you guys, look, we have the same interest, we're trying to do this with our business. If we join forces, I can offer you benefits, you can get discounts on certain things you buy, you may get refunds at the end of the year, and you get a vote in how we do things, what would you say? Sounds like a pretty good deal, right? A co-op. Now, what is the cost of being in a co-op? First off, if you got a bunch of people that's like-minded, when you guys disagree on things, is it going to be an easy fix? No, it's going to take time. So a cost put down, decisions made by the group may not suit all members. So decisions may not suit all members. Okay? And then put down decision making may be slow because you're trying to get so many people to agree or disagree on something. Okay? So again, you find a co-op basically in an agricultural field where farmers come together to try to make sure what they're selling is staying relevant. Okay? But there again, a small farmer may not look at things like a large farmer does, and you may have some type of conflict there. Okay? But it's member owned. There's really no liability. You can get out of it whenever you want to. Okay? It's not like a corporation. If I want to get out of a corporation, I've got to sell my shares or do something else with it, right? I can't just walk away. Co-op, you can, and it gives you certain benefits, okay? And then the last type of business organization that we're going to deal with, and you guys can have a break, is called a franchise. Okay, a franchise. So I know you guys have heard of a franchise before. You guys ever heard of like Five Guys, like little restaurants like that? They kind of pop up in places everywhere, like Wendy's and McDonald's and things like that. Well, what they do is they create a franchise. Like McDonald's is McDonald's. You guys understand what I'm saying? Well, the McDonald's we have at the interstate is owned and operated by someone who lives in our area. Does that make sense? They bought a franchise to be able to put it here. Now, are they paying the people they bought the franchise from money to keep it here? Yes. But they're also making money off of it. You guys understand that? So that what they call a franchise is you're basically operating it for someone else, but you're running it and you're making money. Okay? So, what is the benefit of a franchise? You get training and marketing is provided by the franchisor. So basically, I don't have to pay for people to make commercials or ads for me. The big franchise does that. Okay, they do all that for me. It says the franchisee gains the exclusive rights to sell in an area and benefits from product development. That's the part I want you to put down. Put down that the franchisee, the one who has bought the franchise for the area, the franchisee, that's a weird word. They gain the exclusive rights. Means no one else can have them in that area. Exclusive rights to sell in an area. Okay? Now, what is the cost? What is a problem with the franchise? First thing I'd put down is they pay high fees. Franchises have high fees. Okay? And they have strict guidelines. Very strict guidelines. Okay? So yeah, running a franchise is cool. You're exclusive in an area, you know what I mean? But you're gonna have to pay certain fees, and you have a limited product line. You're only gonna get to sell certain things. You don't get to choose what you're selling. The franchise does that. Okay? All right. Does anybody have any questions about those different types of business? Okay. The last thing I'll tell you, and you can jot this down if you want to, you may see these as bonus questions. It says most businesses in the U.S. are organized as proprietorships. Okay. Meaning at some point in time it's only a one owner type situation. And then the last one is corporations generate the most income. So if you want to make a lot of money, a corporation is the way to go. Okay? And then most business in the U.S. is proprietorships. Does anybody have any questions about that? Does that make some kind of sense with you all? All right, cool.